Today we're going to be making the easiest Italian bread you've ever had in your whole life. We're going to put it together in just a couple of minutes, let time throughout the day take its course, and then tonight we're just going to bake it. It's going to be so good. So we're going to start off by proofing 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast and 1.5 cups of warm water. Now this is just going to be lukewarm water. We don't want anything to kill the yeast. So let me show you how we do it. So I'm going to add my teaspoon of yeast. I'm just going to add it in there with the water. Now I'm also going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. And this just gives the yeast something to eat while they're waking up. Not enough it's going to change the flavor of the bread. And we'll come back when that's all proofed. So we're going to start off today by adding 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have that all measured out. So to our all-purpose flour, we're going to mix our 1.25 cup of proofed yeast that's in our water, our hot water. It's warm water, but this isn't a lot of yeast. It's only one teaspoon. So it's not really a lot to see exactly how it's proofed, but I could tell when it was warming up that it really changed its texture. And to that, all we're going to add is 2.5 teaspoons of salt. Now this dough is going to be very sticky, so don't worry about it. Just give it a mix. Mix it all up until it holds together. I always think the smell of yeast and bread and everything always smells so good. I just love it. All right, so there's our our sticky dough. And all we're gonna do, I'm just gonna take this off on my spoon. We're gonna cover it up and we're gonna leave it for 6 to 8 hours until it's time to bake our bread. Along with our Italian bread tonight, we're gonna be cooking up a spaghetti squash. This is definitely one of my favorite squashes that there is. I love to use it in exchange for noodles. So let me show you how I make it. So last year, I actually didn't grow any spaghetti squash. I think I got maybe 5 or 6 squashes, but this year I'm actually gonna grow quite a few spaghetti squash. It's my favorite. And what I really love is you just throw these in a nice cool closet. I have tile on my floor. They last all year long. So all I'm gonna do is cut these down the middle. So you just take a sharp knife and you're just gonna go down one side of it, just like this. It's very hard to get through it, but just keep working on it, you'll get it. All righty. Now these seeds you can save. You can dry them out and save them and plant them, but I've already got all mine planted for the season. So I'm just gonna scoop all this out and I'll show you how I prepare it to bake it. So what I really like about cooking spaghetti squash is that you just get it all prepared, you stick it in the oven for an hour, and honestly, there's just no work to it at all. So the way that I like to prepare it is that I put a little bit of olive oil on top of the spaghetti squash. Now, quite a bit came out of that, so I'm actually gonna try to scoot that around a little bit and try to get the whole squash kind of coated here. Maybe put some on the outsides of this. All right. Came out a little fast there. Anyway, what I do at this point, I love garlic on my spaghetti squash, so I just put a little bit of powdered garlic right over the top. I put some cracked black pepper, just like this. Already smells so good. Then I put some of my Homestead Patch herbs on. And I just put a little bit of this on tonight since we're gonna be having an Italian dish, and it is gonna come out super good. It's so fragrant in here right now. So I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees. I'm just gonna stick it in there and let it cook like this for an hour. So I just came out today. I'm just gonna be picking a little bit of this lettuce for tonight's dinner. I've got my nice little head right here. I don't need a whole lot. It's just for me. I'll just pick one of these. I've got a little bit in the house as well. I'm just gonna cook up a few of these with my dinner to put on my salad. I don't have much. So as I said, I'm just making dinner for myself. So I decided I have a couple of these little beets. They're very small. They're enough for just one salad, which is what I'm making actually. And so I'm gonna cook up the beet part of it, and then I'm gonna add the beet greens to my salad. So I think those will come out really good. Just like this. I'm just gonna cook them with their skin on. I love to grow beets in the garden. They're just one of those things. They're really good for you. They're loaded with nutrition, and they're something I try to eat a lot of. And I love every part of the beet. Sometimes I make these stems into like a casserole. But today I'm not gonna do that. I've actually been out of town and I'm tired of eating out. And so I'm gonna have a nice healthy meal from my garden. That was my goal today. I love these little tiny leaves. They're really tender. All right. So all I'm gonna do is just wash these really good. Just get any dirt that's on those off of the beet stems, off of the beet leaves. There's not much dirt coming off of them actually. These were really tall. And it did just rain yesterday here in California. So I'm gonna take a mix of these beet greens, beet tops, beet greens, and I'm just gonna let them kind of dry here on a paper towel, just like this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and clean my lettuce. Now, I did end up picking a little bit of parsley, or chives. I guess I picked a little bit of chives and parsley. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those in there. And those are the things I'm gonna have on my salad tonight that goes along with my Italian dinner that I'm making. So what I do is I kind of pull the leaves apart because you see that's where a lot of the dirt is. It's inside of the leaves. So I pull all of those apart when I have kind of a loose leaf lettuce. Just like that. Now with this one, I'm actually going to change the water because this one is quite dirty. These leaves have been right next to the garden floor. And so as a result, there's a lot of dirt in them. Gonna rinse all that out and put our lettuce in here and just get everything nice and clean and crisp. I kind of like crisping up my salads, and I actually go through and kind of clean every leaf. I don't want to crunch on anything that's either animal or dirt, so I know what's happened, but I'm always sorry when I haven't done a better job of cleaning my vegetables. Then I've got a few little chives here. I didn't pick a lot, but I do have a few. I have to tell you, I almost had a heart attack when I saw the prices of food. My son lives in Minnesota. Oh my gosh, I almost fainted. I thought prices for food were high here in California. Holy cannoli. That was terrible. I felt so bad for him. He keeps telling me the prices are so expensive, and I'm like, yeah, they're expensive for all of us. I had no idea. Another good reason to garden. All of this I had out in my garden, and you know, if you are buying the salad mixes and things like that, where he is, they're like $5, $6 for a salad mix. It's like, really? Oh my gosh. Now, if you've never cleaned a beet before, it's super simple. as you saw, we cleaned all of our beet greens, and now we've got a couple little itty bitty baby beets that we're gonna have on our salad tonight. So let me show you how simple this is. So I've actually been, I actually cooked these for about 20, maybe 25 minutes. They look kind of funny, I know, but you just cut off the little root tail. It's super easy. Just cut off as much or as little as you like. I usually take it all off. And then this little outside skin just pulls right off. I mean, and sometimes you can just kind of take your fingers and run it across the skin, and it'll take that little bit of skin right off. And that's how you kind of see them when you go to a salad bar or a grocery store. It looks just like that. So we're going to do the same thing to this one. We're just going to take the root off. We're just going to rub off the skin, kind of clean it up a little bit in the water. It is kind of a messy job. And usually when I do beets, I have a huge bed full of beets that I'm working on because I love pickled beets, and I also love canning beets. And it's another one of those things, I just haven't done it for this year's garden. But anyway, here's your beets. These are going to be my beets for the salad, and they're all ready to go. All right, so our lettuce and our beet greens have dried enough. We can make them into a salad. Some people pull theirs apart. I usually cut mine into kind of little slices. It's just how I've always done it. Occasionally I'll tear things apart if I'm in a huge hurry, but I'm usually not in that big of a hurry. And all I want to do is just get these into bite-sized pieces. So I'm going to put some of the greens in and then some of the salad in, because I've got quite a bit here. So I think the rest I'll put salad. Alrighty. And then I just kind of mix it up a little bit, maybe a little bit more. I think it could stand a little bit more lettuce or greens. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to give this a quick toss. Make sure there's no big ones in there. All right, that looks really good. Now what I'm going to do is take some of my parsley, and I'm just going to chop that up as well. And like I said, this is parsley that I actually had growing from last year. I don't have any parsley that I planted yet this year, which is fine. I've got some chives. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. These are the best chives. I don't know, they're not too strong, but they're enough. You taste them, they are really delicious. I don't know what kind they are. I planted them probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I use them all the time in my cooking. They're just great to put on a potato, but I actually really love them in a salad. And then the other thing that I do is I put a little bit of feta cheese on mine. Gonna crumble a little bit of feta on, make it kind of a Greekish Italian salad, just like that. And we'll put a little bit of Parmesan, not a lot of that either, just a little for flavor. And then I'm going to grate some carrot on it because I want some color. I'm just going to take a grater and I'm just going to grate up some of this carrot that I have. I always think grated carrot looks so yellow, so wonderful on a salad. It's a lot of carrot for a half a carrot. It's really a nice sweet carrot. Wow. Just mix it up a little. really 100% other than the carrot out of our garden. Now I am gonna put a beet on it, the beets that we cooked up. Just gonna cut these into little pieces. All right, since I'm gonna be serving this with a Italian dressing, I'm gonna put just a little scoop of Kalamata olives on them as well. So I'm just going to cover that up. And I'm gonna put that in the refrigerator until dinner time. My spaghetti squash is cooked. I like to let it cool down completely, and then I heat it up in the pasta sauce. And this is gonna be really good. This is the pasta sauce that I made over last summer. This is a basil garlic pasta sauce. This is from all my fresh red tomatoes that I grow. So it's time to bake our bread, and our bread's been sitting under a towel all afternoon. And so all we're gonna do is use a little tiny amount of flour just to kind of get it out of the pan. And then I'm gonna show you how we're gonna bake it. So all I've done is just put a little bit of flour on my hands. Now, as I said, this dough is gonna be very, very, very sticky. It's not gonna be a typical dough that you're gonna see. So all we're gonna do is just kind of roll it into our pan. Now, I use a Dutch oven, and I put in a little bit of parchment paper that I've sprayed with some cooking spray. And all I'm gonna do is throw this in the oven, and I'm gonna bake it in the Dutch oven for about 30 minutes uncovered, and then I'll take off the lid and see how it looks. At that point, we'll just brown it up a little bit. So let me show you how I make my spaghetti and meat sauce with my cooked spaghetti squash. You're just gonna love this, and I know you're gonna wanna try it. So let me show you. So I've got a little bit of olive oil heating up on my pan, and I've also got about a half of a yellow onion that I've chopped up. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my oil. Now I've already got onions cooked down in the sauce, but I really like a little bit of extra onion. I hate chopping onions, especially strong onions like this, because they always make me cry. So what I'm gonna do is actually cut these through the Vidalia onion chopper, so I only have to do these once this week. So if you've never used a chop wizard from Vidalia onions, this is the only way to go. This is a strong onion, but this makes this process so easy. That's it, all done. So I got half of my onion inside, and I'll link this if you've never bought one of these. This is a must-have for the kitchen. It really is. I put half of my onion inside of my spaghetti, and I'm gonna put the other half inside of a container so I don't have to do this again for a while. I think some people just aren't as sensitive to onions and things like this. I really am. I don't know why. But this is just kind of how I do it. I put everything in a container, and then when I need onions throughout the week, I just take them out as needed. I can cook with them, put them on a salad. So into the refrigerator goes the other half of my onion. There you go. So while my onions are starting to brown up, I take this time and I'm just going to take all the insides of the spaghetti squash out. Now I use a fork, and this is gonna come out really, really easy. As you can see, you just run your fork along the bottom of the squash, and it comes out really just like spaghetti. I think it actually has a better flavor than pasta in many ways. So I eat a lot of spaghetti squash. I just love it. Actually, you could put my pasta sauce on cardboard and it would taste amazing. I'm just gonna put this right on the, right on this foil. So after I'm done going through it with a fork, I actually go over it with a spoon as well. And the spoon will just get everything without ripping it. Sometimes if you take the fork and you keep working it, it'll rip it. See, I got another tablespoon or so. So at this point, I'm gonna take my spaghetti squash and all I'm gonna do is move it into the onions. And remember, it's already been seasoned with olive oil, pepper, and some garlic seasoning. Garlic powder, not garlic salt. I don't have any salt on it at this point. So I am just gonna kind of cook this with the onions and get some of the water from the spaghetti squash out of this. There is a lot of moisture. You know, if you've ever cooked zucchini or anything like that, you know what I'm talking about. Now this summer when my tomatoes are ripe, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I can it. And I'm just gonna add this right to the spaghetti squash. And I've got another smaller container. I may add one more. I just want to see how liquidy it is after it cooks down a little bit. This looks really good. I wish you could smell it in here. It just smells unbelievable. Of pasta with sauce on it. And this is a thick sauce. So it isn't like you're gonna get away from the thick part of it, but we want it to actually have the consistency of spaghetti. All right, so I'm just gonna give that a little stir. That's much better. Oh, wow. This is gonna be so good. All right, so all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna bring it back up to a boil. And then I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna turn it down. So this is how my bread looks after 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in uncovered for another 15 minutes. Well, our bread is done. It is out of the oven. It looks so amazing. I've got to show it to you. And we will go ahead and plate up our wonderful Italian dinner. So this is my bread. I just got it out of the oven. It looks amazing. Yum. So it's time to plate up our Italian meal. I'm just gonna put some of this spaghetti squash spaghetti on my plate. I'm also going to get some salad. That's a lot of salad. I'll have some of that tomorrow. And then I have a little bit of Italian dressing I'm going to put over the salad. We're going to give it a try. First, we're going to try the bread. Wow, that is so good. We'll have some of our spaghetti squash. Oh, that is amazing. Oh, wow. And last but not least, let's try our salad. Wow. Give this a try if you've never made this simple make and set up and then bake later bread. Give it a try. It is absolutely wonderful. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you as part of my family. Like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.